back. This is episode number 3.
Yeah.
Under the Influence.
So far, so good.
I'm Jason Knight.
I'm Adri.
And I guess we should start off by recapping the previous episode, which was Fight for Your Right to Podcast.
Beastie Boys.
That was our Beastie Boys theme because we were recently watching the Apple TV Live Beastie Boys documentary.
Yes.
Still, if you haven't seen it, it's incredible.
Watch it.
If you're still trying to play it safe and do the safer at home stuff right now, you're still in self-isolation and quarantine.
Sure.
You've ran out of things to binge watch. You will not be disappointed with that documentary,
watch it
Adri.
over and over. I know. I watched it again this weekend.
So what feedback did we receive from last week's podcast?
I felt like a lot of people were really liking the albums that we chose, Beastie Boys wise. Remember, we did our top 5 albums?
Right.
And this weekend, my husband and I, Thomas, we went exploring, and our theme song, we had the Beastie Boys in the car playing. So we had Paul's Boutique CD, we had License to Ill. Like, we were rocking the Beasties this weekend. So
I love that. And it was beautiful weather, too.
Beautiful.
Provided a great soundtrack for you guys.
Absolutely.
Great road trip music.
Yes, it gets you pumped.
So a couple of Twitter engagements from our Twitter at UTI Music Pod to our poll of what is the best Beastie Boys music video. We posted that up.
Yeah.
The majority voted Fight for Your Right to Party.
It's a great one. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, because, we were talking that kind of set not only like as the introduction to the Beastie Boys and who they were and what they were all about, especially with their first album, License to Ill, but the fashion that they put out there, very fashion forward, if you will. That New York style, as you said.
I love it.
Sabotage, I think, was a close second.
Yes, classic.
Everyone remembers that one. And also, No Sleep Till Brooklyn got some votes.
Okay.
And then Intergalactic Planetary came in last place, which I thought might have took the top spot.
I voted for that one. It's one of my favorites.
There you go.
I love it.
Notable things that happened over the past week, pop culture, anything to discuss?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that happened.
I know there's a lot of reopening going on right now. Like, that's starting.
There is, yes.
States are starting to reopen.
Restaurants are having inside dining now, but very limited still, which I think is fine. Play it safe. Right.
Let's still have mixed feelings. Should we or should we not do that? So we're not here to get political.
No, but still, if you want, rock the mask. I'm still rocking the mask. I'm in my whole other studio. I'm seeing you, and you're like, what are you doing in there?
Did see that the Rolling Stones canceled their summer tour.
Yes.
So that's disappointing because we were just talking about in our first episode about the shows and the artists that are still kind of out there doing it that are on our bucket list. Now, you've seen the Stones live.
I have, and I so want you to see them. They're amazing. Absolutely phenomenal.
So I guess I'm going to have to wait till 2021.
They'll still be rocking. Don't worry.
Hopefully.
No, absolutely.
Keith Richards, at least he'll be hanging on.
They are fine.
It might just be him and his guitar on stage and Keith Richards as the Rolling Stone.
It'll still be worth it. It will.
It'll be the I'm the F Still Here summer tour featuring Keith Richards.
It'll be worth it. You'll want to see it.
And somewhere out there, there's, I don't know, a band called the Cockroaches, and they'll be the opening act. So there you go.
Why not?
The Cockroaches and Keith Richards, the I'm Still Here tour.
Interesting tour.
2021. Somebody book that. Let's make some money.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's in the blender for you this week? What playlist vibes? What are you feeling?
You know what? I'm still on the Beastie Boys soundtrack. I just love them so much. So I'm rediscovering songs that I forgot about. Songs that my husband's like, you don't remember this song? No, I never heard it. He's like, you got to listen to it. So I'm rediscovering the Beastie Boys.
There you go. Like maybe some of the B-sides and some like the deep cuts.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. What about you? Who are you listening to right now?
Kind of on the same wavelength or in the same vein as the Beastie Boys, and I'll explain why here in a second.
Okay.
I went back down the Sum 41 wormhole.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Remember them?
I love Sum 41, yes.
Heard their breaking single, Fat Lip.
Yes.
And the music video was a lot of fun, speaking of music videos.
Very
the Beastie
fun.
Boys. They had that hip-hop breakdown in that
they
song.
do.
And so that reminded me of the Beastie Boys. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back and listen to Sum 41, and I have to wonder if that band was influenced by Beasties while they were forming their band.
I was just going to say, absolutely they were. I hear so much of their influence in their music.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because, in the last episode, we were talking about how the Beasties were a little bit punk rock starting out.
They were in the beginning, yep.
Yeah, that's how they started out, was a punk band.
The hip-hop vibe came on, and
right.
They kind of transcended into like their own musical genius.
I just forgot like how hard Sum 41 rocked.
Yeah.
Even though they're classified as like a pop punk band.
Yes.
Because of how mainstream they went, they kind of came out in that era with like the Simple Plans and the Good Charlottes and
the
like All American Rejects.
Right. Yes.
So they definitely hit harder.
They did.
Than what I remember.
I'm going to have to listen to them. Okay.
Good stuff, Sum 41.
Yeah.
Speaking of road trip vibes, weather's better now.
Oh, yeah.
Some
I'm
areas,
sweating in my studio. Woo-hoo.
Roll those windows down and blast some Derek Whibley in your face.
Sure.
Avril Lavigne did.
Oh, gee. I knew you were going to go there. I knew it.
So let's segue into this episode. Don't You Forget About Me.
Don't.
In my radio show prep on Monday,
I
came across a fun fact that the song Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds from the movie The Breakfast Club.
You love that movie.
Oh, hands down my favorite film of all time. So that song finally reached number 1 on the American Top 40 charts. However, not my favorite movie soundtrack.
Okay.
Does that make any sense to you?
Not really.
Okay, so I'll explain. I dig the music within the film, but there aren't that many original songs that stand out like Don't You Forget About Me.
Fair enough.
So there were like a lot of studio musicians or...
that we don't even know of.
Right. Or maybe they were the singer-songwriters that were approached for the film to write like original music for that film.
Right.
But there weren't any like big names other than like maybe that band. I think Wang Chung was the only everybody have fun tonight, like that group. Right. Everybody have fun tonight. So,
hey, pretty good.
Right.
Okay, sure. So best movie, one of your favorite movies of all time, but soundtrack.
Love how the music like is intertwined in that movie because there were some scenes like, you know, they're being chased down the hallway by the principal and trying to get away from him. And so there were like some fun like interludes and things like that.
And it keeps it moving.
Yeah, they were like weaved in and out of some of the scenes. And like the other one, like Emilio Estevez is like dancing in the library and doing like, I forget the name of the song, but like, again, it wasn't by a group or a particular like standout solo artist.
But it worked.
But it worked for that particular scene in the film.
Okay, so who's your favorite character in that movie?
Oh man, that's tough to pick. Because everybody's, I feel
everybody
can identify
unique.
with every character.
Right. But if you had to pick one.
Probably Farmer Ted.
Oh, jeez. Anthony Michael.
Right. But it wasn't a brainiac like him, right?
I love him.
Just the uber nerdiness of him.
Yeah, you know, that gawkiness, the awkward stuff. Yeah, I would.
But I had a buddy named James.
Okay.
That I played in bands with in high school and through college. And we were huge, like, pro wrestling fans. Still to this day, I am. James passed away several years ago, but he was like my bestie. He was the Judd Nelson.
Really?
Yeah, he was just like Bender in that movie.
He's crazy.
A little bit of the class clown, but like the, you know,
a little bit of a macho.
Mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Yeah, okay.
Just kind of the coolest guy in the room.
Right, doesn't have to do anything.
So maybe like the yin to my yang being like Farmer Ted super nerd over here.
That's perfect.
Who was I going to pick? Ali Sheedy?
I don't know. I'm just putting it
Scratch
out there.
the dandruff out of my hair to make snowflakes on your paper? Right.
Makes me cringe.
Okay, so I have to ask you the same question. Who did you most identify with?
I would have to say I really liked, I can't think of her name right now, Molly Ringwald.
Claire.
Claire, yes, thank you. Because I loved like making my own type of clothes and dressing differently, like stuff that didn't match. And I was kind of like the awkward kid where people would make fun of what I wore, how I looked. And I was like, you know what? I don't care.
Because she was portrayed as not so much the cheerleader, but like the popular girl.
Right.
The one like that had, like the girl all the bad guys want.
Right.
You know?
But she kind of had her own thing going on where she didn't care.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I identified with that.
She had her own style.
Yes.
Her own sex appeal in a way.
Sure.
But she wasn't like, kind of like the rich girl and not so much the girl next door.
Yes.
Kind of a goody two-shoes in a way.
Right. Which I think some people might think that of me. But, so I would identify with her. Yes.
Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do?
Yeah. Don't drink, don't smoke.
Two-shoes.
What do you do? Mm-hmm.
I love that song.
Me too.
I don't think it was ever on a soundtrack.
It might have been. I don't.
Who was that? Adam Ant.
Adam Ant. Yep.
Nice.
It was a great song.
So I think some songs take the movie to the next level, or at least like they catapult it into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Songs like Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Kenny Loggins.
Man in Motion from St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, that's such a good movie. Yes.
I love that. Maniac.
Flashdance.
Yeah, Flashdance. Footloose.
Oh, there's so many songs in that movie.
Purple Rain.
Prince.
We're going to get into all of that in just a few minutes. But you would agree, though, like there are just songs in movie soundtracks that make scenes that much better, but then the songs, you take them out of the film and they just stand alone on their own.
It's very memorable. And I grew up, I'm an 80s girl. And so all of these movies have such great memories in my head. And the music, I still love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So let's deep dive into the 80s films, maybe share some of our favorites, the best soundtracks that came out of the decade. Now, we're not saying these are the best of all time. There's no top 10 list. This is not a list per se. This is just ones that...
like our favorites. Right. Because I can't do that list. I mean, there's so many that I'm going to forget that I can't.
Yeah, there's films out there that probably have great soundtracks that we're not going to discuss or not going to bring up. And so I encourage the listener...
let us know.
Right. Go to our Facebook page and our Instagram. Both of those are at Under the Influence Music Pod. And again, on our Twitter, at UTI Music Pod. Do you want to go first on sharing some of your favorite soundtracks and maybe why you pick some of those?
Okay.
And then we'll compare notes because I'm sure we're going to have some of the same ones.
I'll pick one and then you pick one.
Okay,
so we'll go back and forth. Sure. Okay, so one of my favorite movies of all time, had the movie poster in my room, stared at it every night. Do you know where I'm going with this? You're scared.
There's something with Patrick Swayze in it?
Yes.
Am I on point?
Yes, you are on point.
With Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, that was at the top of my list, too. Again, not that this is like a top 10 list or anything, but...
I had the biggest crush on him. I mean, which little girl, an adult woman, and just anyone in general did not have a crush on Patrick Swayze?
He was just the embodiment of macho.
So cool.
Charisma.
He could dance.
Cool.
He could act. He could sing.
He sang "She's Like the Wind." That's his song on the soundtrack.
And when he dances, I just rewind it and watch it again. Like I love
you dirty thing.
I know. Love him. Okay, so Dirty Dancing definitely, and it's a great soundtrack.
I feel like that is the standard for film soundtracks, at least in the 80s.
Sure.
There were movie soundtracks obviously that came before, like Urban Cowboy, Staying Alive, Bee Gees, Grease.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I mean, there definitely were
before
movie soundtracks that stand the test of the time, even before the 80s.
Yep.
Going back to the 60s and 70s, there definitely are those soundtracks. But for me, for the 80s movie soundtracks, the standard for me is Dirty Dancing.
Okay. Yes. It's so good. I could watch that movie over and over and over.
Another one I really loved, Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun, Tom
Are you
Cruise.
a goose or are you a maverick?
I'm a maverick.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got the need?
I need for
the
speed.
Need for speed. All right. Got it. Yeah, again, that one has some classic songs on there, from Take My Breath Away to Hot Summer Nights, Miami Sound Machine.
And even Kenny Loggins in the 80s. I mean, he was everywhere.
Okay, so I'm going to say this about Kenny Loggins.
Okay.
Because he also produced Footloose.
Yeah.
Do you have that on your list?
Yes, I do.
So we'll get into Footloose in a second. So I would say if John Hughes is the king of 80s teen flicks.
Yes, he is.
Kenny Loggins is the undisputed king of 80s movie soundtracks. Am I right?
You're right. Absolutely.
Man, I can't think of one soundtrack like he might not be on.
After hit.
Right. So yeah, you had Danger Zone.
Yep, hands down.
Now, when I first heard that song, or maybe not when I first heard it, but I always thought he was singing Highway to the Danger Zone. And then I just, one day, I decided to Google the lyrics.
Okay.
And I'm like, Highway to the Danger Zone? What the hell does that even mean?
I love it.
There's no highway in the skyway.
He can make up whatever he wants. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's freaking Kenny Loggins.
How about just the theme song from Top Gun? That wicked guitar, and how it just kind of builds and it gets more epic as it goes on.
It's such a great, great soundtrack. And if
Harold
you haven't listened to it,
listen
to it. Wow.
How about me pulling out some rando name?
Look at you.
But you know what? Harold Faltermeyer also, I did Axel's theme for Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh. Yes. Another great movie. Another great soundtrack.
So yeah, Top Gun. Definitely on my list of the best 80s movie
Mine
soundtracks.
as well, yes.
Share another one of yours.
Okay, I have Purple Rain. I mean, it's Prince being Prince.
Enough said. Timeless, one of those.
Hits.
Even forget that it's a movie soundtrack. Just take that away from it.
That's
just
right.
As a standalone album, listen from start to finish. Not one skippable track on there.
And that's hard. That's hard to find.
Yeah.
Consistently, one hit after the other.
Shout out to our girl.